How can anyone exceed expectations if there are unwritten expectations?
Corporate culture as white supremacy culture has been going around the internet. I did the second paper of my dissertation on that, and the first one was on the unwritten rules of work. Let me tell you a story about where these two collided, as they often do. So I'm Dr. Anna Kalschmidt. I'm an industrial organizational psychologist, and I research the unwritten rules of work for people from working class backgrounds. I always look at race and gender intersections, and recently I included neurodivergence. One of the unwritten rules of work is indirect communication, meaning people don't tell you what they want, they just expect you to figure it out. That is a performance set up to fail for people who are not from your culture, because indirect communication puts all of the onus on the person receiving the information to make sure it's clear instead of the person saying it. Direct communicators think they are responsible when they send a message for making sure it's clear. Indirect communicators put that onus on the other person. And I was working for a very prestigious institution, the first one of that caliber I had worked for. I was bullied constantly and given literally 4 management roles. My resume confused recruiters afterwards because I did so much. They were like, there's no way this was just like one job. And I was like, oh, it was. And it was not even an option on my performance appraisal to exceed expectations. Not just that they never rate it that high, as a lot of places do, but that it literally wasn't an option. You had meets expectations or under expectations. And so the qualitative portion of my performance review talked about how I had made the blueprint for how things should be done at this company and da 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 da, and that I'd taken on all these extra roles during a tough time and that I met expectations. So not only were there unwritten rules that were go on as they do in all organizations, all those times to white supremacy culture is the unwritten rule of perfectionism, that there's never a good enough way to exceed expectations. It's never good enough. It's the professor who did everything in their rubric, but you didn't go above and beyond, so you don't have an A. It's the person who rates your job performance and says you went above and beyond, but I can't give you a 5. I can only give you a 3. If we do not have clarity on what is expected and what truly exceeds performance, then what we rely on is the people we like, the people who are more similar to us, the people who know the unwritten rules. Ultimately, your best talent potentially leaving your company because they're frustrated that they're not getting rewarded for what they do. And you don't feel the impact immediately, though sometimes you do when somebody who's doing 4 roles leaves and then you have to hire 4 people to replace them. But more so, you get into situations kind of like what we see a lot now, where you wonder, how did these idiots or these bullies get in power? Because you drove all the people who actually knew their jobs away. So clarify what your unwritten rules are, and if they're toxic, address that.